I'd like to pick up the point that Aubrey made, because I'm a doctor and a professor, Aubrey Rose brought. I'll stand up and do it sort of an opera diagram. I've written these things down because so that I don't forget anything, but I agree totally with you that there is a sort of a gap between, well, first of all, everything seems to be financial rather than human. I think they both elements should be there. There's nothing wrong with making money for the borough, and there's nothing wrong with raising money. But at the same time, the human element has to be brought into it. And I think that's what's totally lacking in every way. But, I just wanted to also say that the council and the way that they've handled things just for money, where they've sacked, there has been a shortage of staff so that many people who had applied in advance and well in time were not put on the electoral register. I had people crying in the street. We know, we have proof that there were boxes of registration forms hanging around.
Proof, you must complain to the police about that.
Okay then, I think people have. I think they have. I know that some of my constituents who were crying because they couldn't vote have made formal complaints.
Well, I hope that's
also, you hired TNT to deliver our post because it's cheaper, and people didn't get their polling cards. We know that your own MP, Matthew Offord, found a dumped bundle of polling cards, and the postal vote was handled by this company, who are known to be absolutely useless.
The postal votes were dispatched by the Royal Mail, who used TNT as a contractor themselves.
Right.
That wasn't the council. The council used Royal Mail, believing that was the most reliable.
But you have used TNT for the polling cards, and many people didn't get them, or they went to wrong addresses. So far, since you've been with the new council and Capita has come into play, the IT system has been a total and utter failure. You must have suffered as well as everybody else. The call centres are still, and I know this is from the beginning and not what was said at the council meeting, that there has been this message, this number is unrecognisable, or, and that's been going on for months and months. I got it last night when I was given a number from the council to ring the number, and I got that. I rang an hour later and there was an answer phone and it was reconnected. Then just the very last thing, very quickly. We say that there's this wonderful consensus between the parties, but we have had a really horrible time from your party when we were given that sort of indecent proposal, as it's now known, just before the first annual council meeting, that if we would lose our expenses if we didn't agree to pair with you. I have to say that pairing on a political level was the actual proposal.
Can you say that again?
Yes, that just before the annual council meeting, we were approached and we were told that our expenses would be removed if we didn't agree to pair on voting with the Conservative Party. And then, during that meeting, the Conservative Party moved a council meeting to take place during the Labour Party conference, which is just unheard of. I mean, there is an agreement in national and
Madam, I'm sorry, you cannot tell a lie in public.
I'm sorry, Alison, could you just confirm that? Because this is what you told us.
Shall I say what I offered?
Tell you what, I'll start off, because actually that way we'll get a straight one. There is a scheme of allowances for councillors, and that reflects both the basic allowance for all councillors and what's known as special responsibility allowances for a range of chairs or cabinet members originally, or chairs of committees, and also for the last, I don't know, 10 plus years, a modest additional special responsibility allowance for the shadow leads, well, it's shadow cabinet, shadow leads on a range of areas that supports them doing their role in terms of challenging their counterpart, their cabinet member or the chair. Late in the day, there was Councillor Cornelius came to me and said that he was minded to remove those from the scheme, but of course perhaps we could consider retaining them if we were to go to a pairing arrangement, because actually the majority on the council is very tight now, or, well, allowing for the voters of Colindale, who I wouldn't of course take for granted if the 3 councillors, Labour councillors, are re-elected in Colindale. We will have 32 Conservative councillors, 30 Labour councillors and 1 Lib Dem. And so there's a real challenge, I think, and I can understand the concern to ensure that that's maintained on the council. It was a tricky offer to be made, but actually it was one that the Labour group rejected, and because actually they have, we were talking about honour, a sense of honour earlier. So it is not, it's not quite as you described it, but that was how it, that was the reality of it. And you know, we held our heads up, and we will carry on, I hope, serving both as ordinary councillors, but actually also challenging in our key shadow areas as we go forward. And I made the point when I spoke at the council meeting that actually when we put forward our shadow budget in March and put forward a new scheme or an alternative scheme for the committees, we had honoured that shadow allowance as part of our scheme, because actually we genuinely hoped that we would be the administration, and we wanted to ensure that an opposition was equipped to be exactly that, a sound opposition, because I think, and we all think, that that matters for democracy, whether it's local democracy or actually within government. And so I just finished there, because it's really important to do.
Can I just ask a question? This lady, you, I don't know your name, sorry,
Devra,
and I'm not politically inclined at all, but you made a statement just now that you had proof that there was boxes left unopened. Deborah?
yes.
Is that correct? You made that statement.
I'm telling you about...
No, you made the statement.
Yes, no,
and
I'm
you
just going to answer
said,
that.
no, I appreciate
No,
that.
sure,
No, let me
sure,
finish.
yes.
You made the statement
Yes.
that you had proof. Okay, that was your statement. When somebody said here, you need to go to the police, you didn't take responsibility for saying yes. You said, I will pass it on.
No, I didn't.
Do you
I
have
said that I
proof?
know that people have.
No?
Yes.
Are you going to go to the police now?
I'm considering it with my...
Well, I think you should, because I don't think you should make a statement like that in a meeting.
Why? If it happened, it
No,
doesn't
no,
mean I
because
have...
if you've got a public duty,
is
if
made.
you've got proof that something has gone wrong, you have a public duty to report that. And shame on you if you don't.
Okay, do you see somebody else who's clear?
I am
Do
actually
you want
not
to say
listening.
something?
Well, no, you need to report it to the police.
Okay, thank you. Richard and then this gentleman.
When I made that offer to Alison Moore, it was an offer that I deeply regret that I did make. It was...
Finish.
If you do something wrong, you say sorry. It was wrong to conflate the two issues together. It was right to offer a pairing arrangement and to suggest a pairing arrangement only for the very sick councillors. That's what I offered. That's fine. It wasn't
Not
accepted.
to Councillor Danny Seal, who misses
If someone misses it because
meeting
they're
after
away.
meeting after meeting.
Sorry, I was making an eloquent apology, madam.
Well, I wouldn't say it was eloquent, but carry on.
Okay, well, I'm trying anyway. Okay. The other question is the shadow cabinet allowances were removed, yes, but so were the cabinet allowances. There is a savings to the public purse of £90,000 with the new allowances. That's good. I think that's a good thing.
And moving the meeting so that Labour councillors can't go to conference?
That
Pretty
needs
shabby,
to be
isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It needs to be adjusted.
Oh, it's going to be adjusted. There we are, Alison. We can go now.
Forgive me, but I do just want to make the point, if we're doing political jousting about money, actually the structure that we put forward at the shadow as our shadow budget, actually the committee structure would have saved £200,000 because it actually would have reduced the numbers of committees, slimmed it down and made it more fleet of foot. And I just say that because actually I just want to be clear about that because it isn't about it wasn't about the money in that sense, but the structure we were proposing actually was fleeter of foot and would have saved a £200,000 amount of money.
Well, I think the arithmetic was arguable on that. But,
Get this gentleman in the blue shirt.
Yeah, I think democracy has been able to accept the democratic decision, and the democratic decision of the borough was to elect a Conservative majority albeit now the majority is so slim that the pairing arrangement seems to me eminently sensible. And I think without it, then it's going to be very difficult to have a viable government within, local government within Barnet. And I think there's a bit of politicking going on by the Labour Party, which they should withdraw, because it's sensible that you have the pairing arrangement so that government can proceed in the borough.
Okay, Bob, and then
That's all very well, but the reality on the ground is that there are several people under investigation now, and there's a by-election that will be held.
Well, there's nothing to do with the pairing arrangement.
Well, the reality is that the Tories are not necessarily in the majority, or will not be.
There will be a majority.
That is a
At
possibility.
the moment they're in the majority, so they're just trying to make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, for them to govern.
Actually, I disagree. I think pairing arrangements are deeply undemocratic because they are representing somebody who's not there. And if somebody is too lazy to come to a council meeting or whatever
Not
party it
too
is.
lazy, too ill.
No, I'm
Only
sorry,
the
Councillor.
sick.
Danny
Only the
I
sick.
could name them. I won't name them because I don't want to embarrass them, especially ones that are now moved on. But there are certain councillors who cannot be bothered to turn up to meetings, or turn up late, or do not contribute, and they do not take their role seriously. They're quite happy to take the allowance, but they don't want to do boring stuff, turning up, sitting there, reading reports and so on. And if they've got a dinner to go to, they rush off early. If they've got a holiday to go to, they go on holiday. Or they go on a business trip. It's not good
never
enough.
suggesting that that should be part
Well,
of the
that
pairing
effectively
arrangement.
is what would happen.
No, it should only be for the sick.
And my point is, I think it is undemocratic, and that is democracy. It's bums on seats, isn't it? And if that person doesn't put their backside on the seat, that's their responsibility.
May I ask Alison more very quickly? Was that the case that it was only for sick people? Was that stipulated? Because that isn't how it was presented at the time.
It was for those who are not able to turn up for the meeting, I think. And it was couched. That was one example, but you know, it was presented. It was presented in exactly the way it was presented to me, and it was done honestly.
Thank you very much.
okay, well, some people will be relieved to hear, and others will be sorry that it is now 9 o'clock, and that is the time that is allowed for us to be here. Doing well. Okay, if you are prepared to stay for another half hour, there's a question. Tony's on.
Thank you.